All right, so if you're like me, you only got so much money. Budgets are real. You only got so much time, more importantly, and out of that time, you carve out your time to smoke a cigar, and this happens. You get a wonky burn. Man, that stinks. So, I'm going to tell you the ways that I do my best to salvage my smoking experience. I mean, I paid for this thing, right? I want to smoke this thing. I got this thing ready to go. Maybe this is the only cigar I got with me. And I want to make sure that I can try to smoke it as good as I can. Now, if you've got holes in it, if you've got pipe holes in it, little mouse holes in it, construction's bad, there's nothing you can do about that. But sometimes there's just a little void in the wrapper or in the filler, and it starts chasing up there. A couple bad things. It's not a big deal, Bob. Just smoke it, right? Well, the problem is that cherry, the piece that's burning, gets bigger and bigger, and that makes it possible for your tobacco to have more of a bitter quality. I mean, I can smoke it, but I like to smoke it a little bit better, and it just looks bad, and it's going to get worse and worse as it goes back. So we're going to do what's called a touch up. Now, when you touch up, I highly recommend you don't touch up with something like this awesome paleo lighter. Fantastic, but it is a quad, right? That thing's got a flame and a half, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to even up. You can do it with this, but I highly recommend that you don't, because this is like taking a sledgehammer to a little finish nail in the house. I love this thing. Great tabletop, full of fuel. You can see through it. It's got the cigar rest on top, the big dial on the bottom. I like this thing. I really, really do. But I might get something like this little Paleo Pro, right? It's kind of cool. It's got a punch on it. It's got a little nub tool on the inside. It's got that big fuel dial on the bottom, right? And it's got a single jet. Single jet's what I want to get a hold to, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the cigar right side up, upside down. I'm going to, with the burn end up, right, because heat goes up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to toast right at this edge where the ash and the mascara line is. Mascara line is that little black line of the unsmoked tobacco that's just toasted, ready to get fired up and smoked and enjoyed. So I'm going to try and heat this up, and it's going to flare up a little bit. Don't be scared. It's going to be all right. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You're going to be all right. And I'm going to toast this up a little bit, and then I'm going to try and work the tobacco back, right? So I'm going to get it. Now watch. It's going to flare up. Look at that little flare. And I'm just going to kind of work it back ever so slowly. Now, with a problem this big, a burn issue this big, it's going to take a little bit of work, right? So you're going to take your time, and now see, I've made it all the same color, but I like that little ash right there. I call it zombie ash, and you have to touch it up. It just has the little bubbles on it. But what I've done is I've just lit the wrapper. I want to make sure that I get that binder lit real good, and I want to get that filler good and hot so I can smoke it back. And then I'm going to do the thing that I hate to do more than anything else, and that's let it sit for just a minute, because the area that's real hot, I want it to cool down. That's been burning. And I want to let this I want to catch up this tobacco and get this tobacco good and cooked, so that I can relight it. All right. If it gets to be this bad, if the touch up gets to be this bad, then you're going to really have to work on it. All right. So let's get that right there. All right. So now on the outside, it looks. Ooh, almost burnt myself. Looks pretty darn even. It's ugly as all get out, but you know what? We're going to tap that ash off in just a second. We're going to let this sit. While we're sitting here, while we've got nothing else to do, I'm going to ask you to give me a thumbs up. Give me a little like on that thing, right? If you haven't subscribed, man, please do it. Doesn't cost you nothing, but it sure does help my analytics, and I'd appreciate it. That way we can put out more great content, or content that you can enjoy. So one of the reasons that you can have this problem, okay, let's talk about it. First, it could be a manufacturer issue. If you get a big canoe where it just splits and it runs down because the filler is just not packed right, there's nothing you do about it. If There's holes in the wrapper, and in it lines up with the binder. That's a second wrapper, the wrapper on the inside, the ugly wrapper that holds all the tobacco together in the bunch. If there's holes and they line up, there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. You just pitch it and get it. Or you can cut it down here and try and light it and smoke it as a small cigar, which I try to do. I don't have many problems. The manufacturers are working really hard on their quality control because we as consumers expect it, because a lot of manufacturers do great jobs, so all the other manufacturers have to do great jobs as well. Let's be honest, if you buy a cigar from a manufacturer that is consistently good, it's probably going to be a consistently good cigar. So you've got major companies that do great work with great cigars. Right now, it is a man-made agricultural product. Some things, no matter how great quality control is, will slip through. It just happens, right? It's one of those things. A lighter cigar has a thinner wrapper, and it has a bigger chance of having burn issues or popping issues or anything else like that, just because it's thinner and there's not that much um, protection, I guess, right? So, you as a smoker, if you're at the beach and it burns wonky, Bubba, that's on the beach. So when you smoke at the beach, you'll puff on it, you'll turn it, and you puff on it, you'll turn it, you puff on it, turn it, because the wind's coming from one side, and so the wind's going to keep coming pretty much from one side. So you're just going to keep turning it. So it's going to wonky burn, wonky burn, wonky burn. But as long as you keep turning it, then you're not going to have that big of a problem. Now you can see there's still a little bit of smoke coming off of this, and so I'm going to puff on it a couple times, just so I may not have to toast and light it as much. There may be a little point right here that I'm going to have to worry about. We'll deal with that when we get to it. Another thing, as a smoker, if you're smoking way too fast, the faster you smoke, if you don't toast it well, if you don't get it good and well toasted, if you don't do those things, then you have a bigger chance, a bigger propensity of burn issues, right? So take your time, toast it really, really well to start off with, and then you have a much better chance of not being the cause of a cigar that you're not going to enjoy 100%. So let me tap this off real quick. Let's see where we are. All right, so we've got that point, right? That point usually is because you hotbox it, but I hit it with a torch. You're going to want a lot less of that point because that's all burnt tobacco, and so like I said, that gets hotter, and then you can get those bitter flavors. All right, so I got it toasted up just a little bit. Now I'm going to take it, I'm going to heat it up a little bit more. I'm going to make sure that I get as much of this tobacco hot as possible. Now, if I really want to get hinky about it and I've got a place to do it, I may take and try and roll off that middle piece, which I'll do here just to show you what it looks like, because it's going to give a big black spot in the middle where the tobacco's not lit. But what I'm going to do is I'm basically just kind of burning this tobacco so that I can get into the middle, the meat of it. I'm going to take it and come to a sharp edge like on the ashtray. I'm going to kind of roll it. You can't see because my ashtray's over there. I'm going to kind of roll it to try and knock off that piece, at least as much as I can. All right. So you can see that some of that is still black, right? Tell you what, let's get drastic. Just so you can see. Now I'll probably put this on my leg, which is going to suck because it's hot. All right, so I'm going to cut this. I'd highly recommend you not doing this with an expensive knife. Let me cut it a little bit more. All right, so what I've done is I've kind of shaved it back, right? You can see that. My knife is dirty now. And I'm just going to knock that off in the ashtray. All right, now this is really going extreme, but you can see that the inside of the tobacco has not been burnt. Right now, if you puff on and puff on and puff on, it may light back, but I'm not gonna tempt it. I'm not gonna play with it. I've already had problems with this cigar, so I'm not going to expect the cigar to do 100%. So I'm gonna get a good toast. I'm gonna take some time. I'm really aiming for the center of this cigar. Can you see that? Yeah. I'm going to aim for the center of the cigar, and I'm really going to heat up the inside. Get a good knot. Did you hit that like button yet? Did you subscribe yet? Come on, do it, do it, do it. All right. Now you're probably not on camera doing this, so instead of looking at the camera like I get to, you can take and turn it and blow on it and see that it's orange all the way in, because that's what you're aiming for right there. Then get a couple good puffs, get it good and warm, grab yourself something to drink, have a conversation, tell a joke. Give yourself 30, 45 seconds, and then just start puffing on it. Puffing pace, one puff every 15 seconds, something like that, every 10 seconds or whatever. I don't follow that rule. I'll puff 3 or 4 times, I'll let it sit a little bit, and I'll puff 3 or 4 times. But one of the evidences you know that you've got a good cigar that you're smoking that just had a little problem is that you got a good volume of smoke, you get a good draw, and everything is fine. If it feels bitter, if the smoke is hot, let it rest a little bit longer, and then you can smoke through it. As you can see, it's still trying to walk on me just a little bit. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Now, if I'm just sitting and hanging out, I'm not going to smoke it this fast. I'm going to slow down. But we're on camera. I don't want you sitting here watching me waste time between things, and I don't really know how to do the speed up edit. And I really don't like the speed up edit. It just, I don't know. I'd just rather be in real time. So. All right. So we're still trying to burn a little bit. A little wonky. This is when I do my touch-ups. Really, I wouldn't wait till it got so drastic. I got it I allowed it to get drastic so that you could see what the drastic looks like, so that we could really do an effect on it. So I just toast it up again. Does it destroy your smoking moment? No. Does it make it as premium as it should be? No. But you're still getting to smoke the cigar. Let's face it, cigars are not inexpensive. You might have paid $10, $15, $20 for it, and you're going to want to smoke that thing back, so you're going to want to put a little bit of work into it. Flavors are great. I'm enjoying the cigar, and I don't mind touching up, to be honest. I like playing with it a little bit. If I'm smoking a little slower, I'd have less problems, that's for sure. But I really wanted to exaggerate this so that you could really see what worst case scenarios look like. And smoke it back. And it's still trying. See? It's still trying. So, even though this may have an issue with the cigar itself, I'm going to be able to smoke this back until I don't want to smoke it no more. How far do you smoke a cigar before you put it out? I can tell you the facts. Here's the facts. Pay attention. Write this down. Whenever you want to put it out. When you're done smoking it, when your frustration level is too high because it's burning too wonky, throw it out, get another one. When you got something to do, somewhere to go, throw it out, do another one. Or just put it out and be done for the day. If you want to go all the way back to the band, smoke to the band. If you want to burn your fingers, burn your fingers. If you get a lighter like this Paleo Pro, it's got that little nub tool in it. You can stab your cigar right there and you can smoke it that way, right? No problems, no harm, no foul. Nice setup. We got the original Paleo, which is got the Bob Cigar Guy logo on one side, Chief on the other side, but it is, and this is my everyday, it's my daily, this is a dual jet. And so in doing this class, this lesson, I didn't want to do a dual jet, which I can do a dual jet, but it just takes a little bit more work. If you only have a quad, just be gentle, be careful, take your time, work at it, right? I mean, you can do it with a quad, but it's just a lot harder. So a single jet really makes it easier. Doing it with a match, boy howdy, you're gonna be struggling. So a lighter would be best. A soft flame, probably not well for touch-ups as well. You can also let it go completely out. You can knock the ash off of it. You can take your whatever pocket knife. You can take the, I ain't gonna lie, I'll take the end of my lighter cap and I'll scrape it off real good, and I'll try to make it as level as possible, relight it and go. But this is a little bit faster. So, I mean, we want to get to smoking, right? I do. So it's a 5.5 cigar, 5.5 inch cigar. I'm down to 3 inches, and I'm still smoking. So, I consider this a win. A little bit of a burning fast. So that's it. Questions? Questions? No? Let's go. Fire it up and enjoy your days. You deserve a great cigar. You deserve great moments. You deserve a great life. The world's better because you're here. Take your time for yourself. When you take that time to smoke a cigar, do your best to enjoy your smoking experience. Surround yourself with great people. Have great events. Have great things to do, or just sit by yourself. Because you're awesome. You're good company when you're all by yourself. And I mean that. And I love you, and I'll talk to you later. Don't forget, thumbs up, subscribe. Later, Tater.